Hello and welcome back to the Creating Value in Schools podcast with me, Liz Worthen, where we talk about ways to work more sustainably in schools. And today's episode is one where I shine a light on a theme that's been cropping up in different conversations and I feel merits further reflection. So today we're focusing on relationships and how relational thinking in schools can improve well-being for staff and pupils, reduce conflict and stressful situations, and help develop new connections. Because one of the questions that's kept me engaged through a 25-year career in education, encompassing teaching, training, program and content development, is what makes school life so intense? And how can we reduce some of that overwhelm, creating the conditions that enable staff to flourish in their roles? And I know that one area which is causing rising stress levels in schools is behaviour, pupil behaviour. And whatever your role in school, you'll be coming into contact with pupils in one way or another. That means opportunities for difficulties and challenges, as well as opportunities to make a difference and improve someone's day. Dee Higgins is someone who knows a lot about pupil behaviour. She was deputy head in a pupil referral unit for many years and now works with her local authority, supporting schools in managing behaviour through a therapeutic thinking model. Dee talked about the vital role of a relational approach in working with children and young people. And I think that what that comes down to in practice is a daily habit of being present, open, curious, calm. Let's hear from Dee.
I think that it's the smallest of interactions on a regular, consistent basis that will start to ensure that a child feels safe and they belong in a school. And everyone has a role to play in that. So when I go into schools, I say, look, you have agency in this situation. You are the adult who can develop that relationship. And I think it is about the relational practices from the get-go when the child isn't in a dysregulated state. So it is that meet and greet at the door, be that calm, present, curious person and inquire. And it is about the pace as well, being playful, acceptance and curious and really empathizing where a child may be at. I mean, I know this just from my experience being with children in a pupil referral unit who present often highly dysregulated, and it's a trauma response sometimes to things that have happened in their lived experience, or it might have been something that happened on the bus in. And to be the person that notices that there's something that might not be quite right and is able to respond in a relational way to inquire about what might be behind their feelings, thoughts and behaviour, to get them into a place where there's acceptance and a sense of belonging.
Consistency was a word running throughout our conversation. One of the things Dee does with schools is work on scripting, having a consistent way of speaking with pupils so that everyone is getting the same message from all the adults they come into contact with. Interestingly, when I asked Dee for tips on multi-agency working, as that's something else she's done a lot of, her response was much the same. It's about a relational approach and finding the common ground.
But you are, again, relational practices are important. Understanding how different stakeholder groups, that there is a difference in vocabulary and approach, and respecting that and actually finding the common ground. I know from the work I'm currently doing with social care and other agencies, it's about finding that commonality in approach. And it may be different, it may sound different, but actually I think you have to go into it knowing that the group, the stakeholder, the agency is in it for the best interest of the child. Again, it comes down to understanding of place and space and being respectful of what another agency brings to that equation. It's not easy because that, you do see conflict in that space, but sometimes it's about getting through those challenging conversations and uncomfortable conversations sometimes because you've got to prioritize the needs of the child above all else.
Relationships with parents is another area that's presenting some problems at the moment. It's something that John Viner, an ex-head teacher and now a chair of governors, amongst many other things, cares a lot about. In writing about it, links in the show notes, he emphasises the importance of leaders being around, available at the school gate, present and consistent, listening, being empathetic and respectful, trying to see things from the parent's point of view, meeting face to face where possible, and addressing concerns before they become formal complaints. Relationships with staff matter too. One of the things that caught my attention in NFER's February 2026 research report, What Helps to Improve Teacher Retention, was how staff are more likely to want to stay in a school when they feel supported by the leadership. It's not surprising, really, is it? Teachers working in schools with good pupil behaviour and support to deal with disruptive behaviour are also more likely to stay. So it's worth investing in the quality of leadership and management support. The report even recommends more input on relational leadership approaches within the MPQ suite for head teachers, as well as middle, senior, and executive leaders. Thinking beyond the school gates, building relationships is a route to getting more support. That could be support in terms of time, money, expertise. But if you're going to ask for support, for example, in the form of donations, you need to think about what you offer in return. So I'm going to hand over now to 4 sector leaders who shared their experience and expertise in our fundraising roundtable episode. And you'll find details of all the episodes referenced in the show notes. We're going to hear from Justin Smith, Richard Manville, Matthew Smith MBE, and Vicky Newsom on how building sustainable relationships with stakeholders means more support for schools in the long run, and the importance of saying thank you.
But we have to understand what motivates people. Grant funders are motivated by the outcomes, and it's really clear because they state those. But when it comes to community engagement and donations and volunteer time, we have to ask ourselves the question, why are they getting involved? What do they want from this relationship? And that's really key. And fundamentally, it ends up with the thank you and the acknowledgement. But we have to ask the question right at the very beginning, which is, what does somebody want from this? How are we going to motivate them? What are the outcomes? What's the purpose?
Building those stakeholder relationships helps you make your fundraising more sustainable over time. So when you go back to people to ask them for more funds later on, because you've communicated the success so well about what you're achieving for the children, it makes it easier for you to go back to them and continue with future fundraising.
So the one thing that a lot of people that I've supported tend to forget, so a strategy, an active strategy here at the school, is to thank people that have donated. And not only to thank, but to update and to keep linked and interested. So any newsletter that goes out to our parents that talks about our therapy centre or our playgrounds or our minibuses or our charity shop will also go to the funders that funded that project, and that carries on.
So we've, like Matthew was saying, we've invited the community in, but it's to do specific jobs with it around the school. So it's to maybe fix a fence or paint something or clear an area. But it's about those members of the community coming into school. We give them a bacon butty, a cup of tea. We talk to them about the projects that we've also got going on. So it's a win-win. The school gets things done, but it's also an opportunity to talk to those people and, create a relationship. It's about relationship building, I think, with the community. That's always going to help.
Big thanks to Justin, Richard, Matthew and Vicky for sharing their insights. So, we've looked at how investing in relationships can help reduce stress and conflict, enable pupils and staff to flourish, as well as creating new connections. To finish, I'd like to return to my conversation with Nicola Harvey, wellbeing champion, to remind us of why relationships really matter, because it's part of what makes us human. In speaking about avoiding staff burnout, she introduced the PERMA wellbeing model and how the R in PERMA stands for relationships.
Relationships are key. We are human beings. We are connected to other individuals in every sense. We're not here to live alone. And although it's nice to have that sense of me time, it's good to connect and communicate with others that are on the same level and can be compassionate and caring. So really important that we are seeking out relationships that are healthy, supportive, and can work both ways. It might be in the form of a mentor, it might be a coach, it might be a peer, but really important to have that sense of community.
consistency, curiosity, connection, community. There are many reasons why relationships matter. I hope that's given you some food for thought. If so, do leave a comment or rate the episode. It all helps other educators to find us. Be back with you soon.